Hello there. I'm going to show you how to use Milestone Planner for tracking personal goals. I've gone ahead and I'm on milestoneplanner.com. When you come in for the first time and sign up and get a free account, there's a little tutorial that you'll see over on the left hand side. You can follow that through. It just takes you through creating a milestone, moving it around, setting titles and all those good things. So I recommend you follow that set of instructions. It'll take you just a couple of minutes. But I'm going to skip that and dive straight in here. If you're using pretty much any modern web browser, you can go straight into Milestone Planner and you'll be dropped into this. This is the timeline view, and this is what I'm going to use to build my plan. And what I'm going to do first of all is put in my personal goals in this case, and I'm going to put those down as work streams. So work streams are kind of the main construct in Milestone Planner, which just represent a set of time going off. So I've got a calendar up at the top here, and I can see that I've got January and February there. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get fit, in common with many other people. If you've read the blog post on the blog, so get fit is kind of a little bit vague, but it's a good starter for 10 as a goal. So we'll set that. Well, what's my progress towards that going to be? Well, I gather that being fit involves doing about 40 minutes of exercise 3 times a week. Although I've read all sorts of different things. Now, I don't think I'm going to get there straight away. So I'm going to set myself some milestones on the way to being fit. So I think the first one of those is to do one session of 40 minutes exercise. Sounds like a good starter for 10. And then I'm going to build that up. So having done one, I'm going to put another one in here and say that by the end of February, what I want to do is I'm actually going to try and do not one, but actually I'm going to try and do 2 sessions of 40 minutes of exercise. Now you can see that's just off the edge of the screen there. If I want more time, I can actually just drag the milestones off. So the end goal is going to be the end of the year, so I can reach right out here until December. Actually in December, really what I want to happen is I want to be fit. So I want to have a good exercise regime in place. That sounds like a milestone for me. So there we go. Now obviously if I want to see all of the milestones, I can just go down here and I can actually zoom out. So I'm going to do that now, because really what we're trying to do here is build a plan for the year. So probably by, where did I say, the end of February I was going to put in, didn't I, for that 2 sessions of exercise a week, and so on. So I'm going to build that up and say that by here I actually want to be doing 3 sessions and so on. So the idea is I can make these milestones towards my goal and spread them out, and they can be whatever you want them to be. So another one might be that I want to read more. It's a pretty common New Year's resolution this year, apparently. So I'm going to put read more. Well, again, it's a good goal, but how do I make that specific? So I'm actually going to say in this case that by the end of the year I want to have read, what do I think is reasonable here? Let's think about this. Read 20 books. Okay. Well, where I'm going to start, I think I'm probably going to start by compiling a reading list. That sounds like the first milestone to me. And I guess, gosh, 20 books. Well, let's think about that. That's kind of reading. So if I read the first book, let's think about this here for a second, shall we? This is one of the interesting things about laying things out on a timeline and making goals more specific. If I say I'm going to read the first book by, I don't know, the end of January, and I'm doing exercise then as well, I'm going to have to read another book, so read the next book. Well, hang on, this is going to fill up pretty fast if I think about this. Can I read 20 books by the end of the year? Now, maybe I can. Maybe you can put down here and say, well, actually, I'm going to read a book every single week. Or you might actually look at that and go, do you know what, actually, I'm going to set myself a goal of reading 12 books, because I can see that that's probably going to make more sense if I say that I'm going to read one by the end of April, one by the end of March, one by the end of May, and so on. Now, again, I'm making these vague here, and the point is, with Milestone Planner, it's really emergent planning. So what you're doing is, rather than getting it exactly wrong as a lot of plans are. It's to make it roughly right. So I'll come in later on when I've compiled my reading list, and I'm going to go in here and I'm going to give titles to those books. So the idea is to come back to your plan and gradually make it more specific. One other thing I want to do is make more music. Kind of one of my hobbies that's just got pushed to a back burner, so I'm going to stick that in. Now, maybe I'm feeling quite adventurous, and you can see I'll scroll down here, and I'm actually going to say, do you know what, by the end of the year, I want to record an album. That's cool. Well, that means before I do that, I guess I'll need to have written some songs. Well, how many is good for an album? I think it's going to be a kind of mini EP, because stuff's looking kind of busy, so let's let's not hold down the shift key. Write 6 songs, and there we go. And I can go on like that. So I might say that actually by May I want to have read the first song there, or written it, I should say. And you get the idea here. So, and your own one will be different, but the idea is to end up with a set of milestones. Now, if you want to see more on the page, you can just zoom out the detail level, because this is my personal plan. I don't actually need to see who owns those, and I don't necessarily need to see the date. So I can just click here and kind of zoom out. I mean, generally, you want your plan to fit on a page. Is a pretty good principle. When it's zoomed out like that, I can email that plan to myself. I can forward that on to a friend and say, hey, nag me, this is what I've said that I'm going to do. When I've done something, I can click and I mark it done, and you see there's a little blue progress bar, and the little marker jumps and shows me when the next milestone is. So what happens is, as the year goes along, I'm going to be recording and tracking my progress here, and I'll be able to see which of my goals am I making progress towards, and how far have I got with that. On the review page, it'll tell me what I've done and what's due, so not a lot yet because I've just started. And there's also the progress graph. So what this is showing me is, look, I've set myself 12 milestones to achieve by the end of the year. Blue means done in Milestone Planner. And what happens is, as I mark them done, I'll track my progress along there. If I'm late with a milestone or it doesn't happen, it'll show as missed or overdue. So what will happen, and we'll come back to this and I'll blog on it later in the year, is you'll see whether you're on track with your progress, and whether you're ahead or behind, and you'll work out your work rate, which is basically how frequently or how many milestones do you achieve in each time period, and that helps you set some realistic expectations for you. The other thing, when you come back in, when you log back in, you'll generally end up in the dashboard here, which shows you actions, which we haven't talked about yet, and milestones. So with a milestone, the idea is to break those down into smaller chunks. So when I come back in, it says read next book. I might say, well, do you know what? Actually, the first action is to read the first chapter. So I'm breaking it down into a smaller part. For writing the first song, what's my first action? Well, create some melody ideas. What's the first action? If you're familiar with GTD, one of the things that I like about GTD is this idea of breaking things down into really specific chunks that are the next thing that you can do towards that. There are 2 sessions of exercise. I can go in right away and change any of these milestones just clicking on the title, so I'll correct that one. That might be go for a 40-minute run. That sounds like a good starting point. Now you'll see that by default the actions actually pick up the date of the milestone, because they've got to be done before that. But I can go here and click pick a more specific date. So I might say, do you know what? I know that things are quite quiet next weekend. That's when I'm going to create my melody ideas. So what we're doing here is we've broken our goals down into milestones, and we're breaking our milestones down into actions. A little bit at a time, no need to do it all at once, just do it as it occurs to you. This list here is in time order. There's also something called the do view, or the Kanban, if you're familiar with that kind of model, which helps you track them. So now we can see these actions I've created have appeared here. What happens is, as I start on those actions or mark them done, There we go. I can then track that progress through. So the next time I come back into my dashboard, it's going to show me my milestones due and the actions, and I can pick the first thing off. So when you're doing stuff, it's kind of pick the first thing that you set there. If you decide you